So library buildings and movables are very important, of course, in the context of how the city looks. But what we're talking about here is using the income from the Common Good Fund for the purposes for which it was intended. In 1921, the City Chamberlain valued the fund at about £9 million, 50 million quid today. So why is it only £13.5 million? Well, there are a number of answers to that, and the way you find out why is you go and look in the City Archives and Mitchell Library. Anybody can go, it's extremely well organised. You find they have got to put into the Common Good Fund a small thing like the Kelvin Hall. Whoops, sorry, they've got. It's not in the Common Good Fund anymore, although it was before. So that's not in there. Kelvin Hall and People's Palace in Glasgow Green, none of those things are actually in the Common Good Fund. But they were in 1921. And this on the left, and I will show you another slide of the whole register, is next up in the 1921 register. And you go to the Mitchell Library, a very nice archivist will actually make it very easy for you to get it. And you see listed there is People's Palace in Glasgow Green, a value of £25,000 at that time, and Kelvin Hall, Bunhouse, and all the land round about it, with a value of £56,455. So I sent this to the council and I said, I think you made a mistake here. And they wrote back to me and said, well, that's rather interesting. We do actually still have the Kelvin Hall, People's Palace and Glasgow Green on the asset register for Glasgow City Council. What makes you think it was the common good? I said, well, if you go to the library and you read something, I actually sent them this document. They said, well, is this a genuine document? I said, it was actually signed by the city auditor, the city treasurer, the log provost, and the town clerk. Is that good enough for you? And I went, yeah, okay, I see you're right. So then I wrote to them, and this is the exchange of emails I had with the council, with the legal department. I asked, what is the council's position on common good? Glasgow City Council maintains registers for all council assets and believe those belonging to the Common Good Fund. There has been no adverse comment from our external auditors on its accuracy. Okay, so I went back and asked them, well, what are your actual policies now? Policies in place in Glasgow to review the titles of land or buildings as and when they're subject to change. In other words, we will only look at the status of a supposed common good asset when we're about to flog it. I then had this wonderful assurance, and I can assure you there is no intent by the council to avoid the recognition of assets that fall under the common good, whilst I reiterate that any assets falling under that definition are not prejudiced. I recognise your concern the registers are accurate. And finally, it may be we need to agree that we disagree on recording common good assets. Touching the Donald Rumsfelds and known unknowns. The question I asked after that, for which I'm still waiting an answer, is thank you very much for explaining your policy of not recording common good assets, which are presently not in the Common Good Register, because you say it will cost £4 million to do so. Maybe it'll be 4 million, maybe it'll be 2 million, a million here, a million there, before you know it's real money. But even if that were true, what is your position on recording in the Common Good asset for 2009-10, or 2010-11, assets which were previously shown in the 1921 register? I said, I've actually written an email which says, can you do we rely on Scotland to actually guard our assets? And my answer to that is we don't. I think what we have to do is, using another analogy of another TV program, DIY SOS, we have to form ourselves into groups. No, Shireen is gone. Oh, he's there. We agree that we need to form ourselves. And the three tools which I think we have here in Glasgow are a bunch of people who are interested in the group called citizen archivists, plus freedom of information, and the Glasgow Archives. Because in the Glasgow Archives is an absolute treasure trove of information. And rather more importantly, Glasgow Archives are extremely happy with the idea of training people on how to use the information at their disposal. Now you might find this unusual coming from a local government, council, owned organisation, albeit an LAO, Glasgow Life, and so on and so on. But the archivist at Mitchell Library explained this to me in very simple terms. And she was the only council official who was not afraid to stand up at this session and say what she thought. She said the archives are there because they belong to everybody. The archives are there for you to use, for the council to use, for anyone to go. All I do as an archivist is I provide you with the information. So I'm very happy to show you how to go into all the registers, and Andy knows a lot more about how to do this than I do, but basically I'm very happy to organise training courses where we can, I think the technical term is build capacity. We can get groups of people who will come in and who will show how to research the status, the common good, the legal status of any particular piece of land and buildings. Let's leave to one side for the moment and we will start the treasures. So that's what I propose doing. And I've set up something that's just not there. This is the lady who is very happy to do something for us. She's a senior architect at Glasgow Archives. That's not Marion Ryan, I should say. But she's also chair of the Scottish Council on Archives, which is actually a very interesting situation because she finds herself in that. So, is all of this just off? What does it actually matter? Is there a threat? Well, here's two examples. Glasgow Green. In the park plan, which is why I was asking about the park plan before, there was, for instance, a park that identifies the location for a hockey centre to be built at Reshuffle. Now, this is actually in the plans for Glasgow. It is a common good asset. It may well be that the hockey centre would be a legitimate way to use Glasgow Green. I'm not arguing that because it could have a community purpose. On the other hand, it could be built and run much as the way it was supposed to be run, where you have to pay a large sum of money to actually get in there once they're finished with it. So I think we're right to comment on that. Kelvin Hall. Kelvin Hall is now empty. There are a lot of proposals to redevelop the site, some including housing. Actually, I believe the proposal that they have is quite a good one, which is that they will use it as a resource centre for information and overflow from the university and from Glasgow museums. But the whole point about this is nothing to do with, it's a lot to do with us. Well, we've got a picture of the old Bob Winter up here. And not because of anything against Bob Winter, the old provost. But his chain is actually a common good. That is an asset of a common good, but it's not listed. And somebody I know did a recent FOI about common good assets that were in the city chambers. And they came back and said, well, it's actually just about all of the pieces of artwork and the paintings and so on in the city chambers actually common good. Are they in the register? The answer is no. It's been estimated by the Local Government and Communities Committee that about £1 billion worth of assets in Scotland are probably common good. Now that figure could be right, could be wrong, but that was actually stated at the Bank of England at a recent hearing. The answer by Model Scotland and by councils throughout the land, with very honourable exceptions, are it is only 0.7% of the assets under management by local councils, so what's all the fuss about? Well, ladies and gentlemen, to me the fuss is very obvious. If we can have a decent common good fund in Glasgow, which has a decent income, we can and should devolve the management of those funds, not to the city council, but to local groups, to community groups, to community councils, to whoever we feel is actually accurate about it, who's actually competent to do that. Because it's quite possible that, for instance, we, as a local community, may decide that the council wants to close that elderly daycare centre. Okay, that's fine. We will actually pay for it to run from the common good funding, which at present, as I think Bob said, actually goes to nothing but community, to council sort of drink fests. Yeah. Now, when I had some interesting conversations about this over the last couple of weeks, and I said to a councillor last week, just to show you I move in verified circles, I was having lunch in City Chambers. First time that's happened. Probably the last actually, because when I mentioned all this to him, he said, well, but what's the problem? I mean, the council, it's all the council's money, it's all the same pot of money. I said, well, yes, but it is all the same pot of money. I'm not going to suddenly increase the pot of money we have. What we can do is shift the decisions on how that money is spent and the priorities. I said, for instance, I could say that where a community group to disagree with the council's decision on a particular planning application, we could apply to Common Good Fund for money for a real event. We could actually oppose you by using the Common Good Fund. And I literally saw a guy choke on his soup. She probably why I went back in there. But just think about it. What we're talking about here, Common Good Fund, is and can be something that you think about when you go to sleep about. It's extremely important until you understand the power that lies behind this. The power that lies behind this is really power. So, if my conclusion is we cannot trust the council to look after it, we cannot trust Scotland to look after it, it will be a long time before the Scottish Government gets round to considering the whole business of Common Good ain't exactly a boat. So what we have to do is we have to organise ourselves. And by saying we have to organise ourselves with information. I can tell them that getting information, for instance, is extremely easy if we all decide to do that in a way that we will be planned together. The facilities are there, they're free. The only problem you will have, Ian, and we will certainly have, is getting any legal assistance, because the words lawyer and pro bono simply don't go together. And I think the lawyer's running in various directions to try and get away from me, because I've been asking him to contribute time to this project. So far, we can't get anyone. So if anybody's got a spare lawyer lurking, then it's extremely good. My final idea is that what I'm trying to do is ask people to sign up to the Citizen Archivists project. We have got some signatures already. I can leave these here. You can go on the website, which we put together, called glasgowbelongstome.org, and you can sign up there. But when we get enough people together, we will start to organise training courses with the assistance of Glasgow Archives. And we will be able to go and find out the status of, say, Elder Park. For instance, Elder Park should never have happened, because Elder Park is one of the clearest cases of a common good asset I've ever seen, without really knowing the full details. And so that they should never even have got to the stage they've got to so far without something to gain. So my plea to you is come and join the Citizen Archivists project. Let's use our joint brains, our joint power that we've obviously got here and our will to do something in the room. And let's see if we can form a group which will actually take over what our council is supposed to be doing. Thanks very much. Lights up in the town, and they'll give you some money towards it, just as anywhere else. And the decision is taken by usually 2 or 3 people, one person from the council for legal reasons, but mostly by people from the community. And it's a very simple process. You can't do that in Glasgow. I got somebody to try and get some money from the Common Good Fund, and the answer was we have no budget for a bus service for all people. We have a budget for champagne for the mayor of Rennes, but we don't have a budget for that.
I was speaking to somebody in Inverness, and I asked, have you ever applied? It's the first person I ever knew who'd actually applied for a Common Good grant. She says, yeah. Look, we do it all the time. It's quite interesting.
Inverness is actually part of the council, which is the same council which gave away some Common Good land to a developer paid them up front to do the groundwork. Development went bust, and the common good land is held by the developer's creditors, and the council can't get it back.
Just say Glasgow in a far better position because most of Scotland's 196 boroughs don't have any governments anymore. So if you look to fight for the fifth reading or coalition there, you rely on people for their office. At least Glasgow City Council holds the Manchester Council. But that also gives you the added problem that, as you mentioned, your councillor could be difference. Because there never has been. I mean, there's a clear difference between five council and common county council.
Well, absolutely right, Andy. I mean, I think one of the interesting things is where we're actually sitting here in Dublin was one of the richest boroughs in Scotland when it was governed. And it was, I was told very interestingly by a council officer, funnily enough, that when the whole idea of pulling Glasgow and its surrounding boroughs together came together, and I think it was around about 1920 or somewhere in there, it was a toss-up as to whether the whole area became governed or the whole area became Glasgow. Because government is stuffed full of common good property. And I mean, what my idea would be is that if we can get people together, train them sufficiently in what to look for and how to look for it, is that you then target your favourite property. Say you lived in Gallop Park, you might think of a building and think that could be common good. And very easily you can find out if it was or could be. It's not an absolute definition, it's more complicated, but basically you have a good idea as to whether that is common good. And the thing about it is that what we did with Gallop Park is that we actually got a legal opinion, which unfortunately cost you money, but we did it in that particular case. And then we just told the council it was common good. We just kept on declaring it's common good, disprove it, and in the end they couldn't disprove it. So they added it to the register. And I've been to my MSP and I've said to him that if, for instance, Kelvin Hall, People's Palace and the rest were not restored voluntarily to the common good register by the council, I will write and qualify the accounts of the council for 2010 or 11. And any citizen can do that within a particular period. What that means is the council has to deal with it. But wouldn't it be much better if the council just turned around and said, yeah, okay, we made a mistake. Unfortunately, they're dealing with councils and they're dealing with Glasgow City Council, which is particularly intransigent in this particular way. So you would like to join up?
So we join up, we create a database and we compare that database with theirs and point out
I mean, the idea is that we would create a database which would be properly researched, and when we get the legal component in place, it will be properly documented. And I can't claim credit for this idea totally because the Scottish Borders have already done something like this on a smaller scale, with just a couple of people involved. But this is Scotland's largest city. Its largest town. So I think I have to be a little bit more organised in doing this, just putting it into the public domain. That there really is an issue here, and it's not just some esoteric accounting argument. It actually means something about where the power lies in using the assets of the city to the benefits of the community. Yes.
It's in the 1921 register. Is that, would you say in your opinion that that is complete? And thus that gives us a good benchmark to then say, okay, what are the key things on here? Where's the paper trail? I'm thinking, I'm keen to sign up, and that'd be good to...
I'll defer to Andy a little bit in this because I'll give you the answer, but it is a snapshot in 1921. What you have to do is you have to take snapshots of all of the asset registers, and you have to, for instance, find out when and how the major asset of the Common Good Fund, which was Glasgow Tramways, disappeared. The Common Good Fund in the 1920s, or until early in 1910 or so, decided they had all this money sitting there and they would invest that money into assets for the city. So they funded Glasgow Tramways, which later became Glasgow Corporation Transport. And it's recorded in the Common Good accounts that every year there is a dividend from that investment. When it came to around about 1973, when it came to Strathclyde Regional Council, I suspect that Strathclyde Regional Transport, was it called, or something, Strathclyde Transport was formed, and all the assets were transferred to that. But at some point after that, all the assets, which consisted of not all the buses and trams and all the equipment, all the bus garages, all the tram depots, all the property in the city which belonged to GCT disappeared. Where's the money gone? Where is it? Sorry, somebody else had a question. Yes.
Thanks for that. I've learned a few things from our presentation, the specific amount of money involved and all that sort of stuff, and I appreciate you saying that as well. But one of the things I like about what you were saying is a stress you place on the positive things. I mean, the common good can be a bit esoteric, kind of, you know, is it something to do in this land sale and all this sort of stuff that's going on. But the idea of personalising and turning it into, well, this could fund this could be this person's, you know, care, or this could be this new community asset. That I think that's something that perhaps needs a bit more stress on, because that's about building power and what you were talking about.
You're absolutely right. Yes, as I said, it is really boring if you just stick to a theoretical level. Once you actually appreciate what you just said, which actually could make a difference to something, particularly now there's no money in the council systems. You know, it might be a difference between somebody getting meals on wheels or not.
Are you going to have a cloud database? I mean, you know, so that will pay for itself, but you know, just hire a website. Is that also set up already?
There's a website being put together now with Lawrence Assistance to called GlasgowBelongsToMe.org. The title is chosen to be deliberately provocative. First of all, I was surprised I actually could register it, but nobody thought about it. It's meant to record people's finds. So in other words, the idea would be that you would say in government, you find a particular building that belonged to the city, belonged to the common fund, that was going to be sold or had been sold, and the money had disappeared. We record all that on the site. So we've got all this information going, and people are able to access.
Are you going to put it in the forum? Are you going to allow people? You're going to put it in a database. You're going to
put it on the website. I mean, the idea would be to share the information and to try and persuade people that this is a real genuine live issue.
Because there is kind of another, again in the division, there is another website that kind of discusses local. Is Bob gone? But the forum that discusses, you know, where I got the pictures of the Fairfield farmhouse, you know, it just discusses.
Oh, the Glasgow.
Just talk, they take pictures and.
In Glasgow.
Is it?
Something like that.
In Glasgow, is it? It's a website that already seems to do that kind of thing. But maybe then we can incorporate their help too.
I don't know which
one. In Glasgow.
It doesn't really do much in common good. It's just.
Does this come out of Glasgow Lost? Was it one of the side products of that? There are a number of, yes, you will find. I think I'm thinking of the one I mean. There are a number of websites which identify these things about Glasgow. What I'm trying to do is pull it all together into a sort of semi-legal statement of what actually we've lost,
and bung it into a database with perhaps a photograph of how it looks now. And if that's possible to identify.
That could be. But I mean, I'm looking for examples where the city has stolen common good assets. I mean, I have something in mind. I won't name it because if I get it wrong, it could be disastrous. But I think the city sold a piece of common good land illegally about 5 years ago to a builder. And the builder then built on it and sold the title of those individual plots to individuals. Now, in my layman's mind, I equate this to me selling you a stolen car. If I sell you a stolen car, you have no right to that because it's stolen property. Now, I've got no wish to throw people off their land, none whatsoever. However, I think it's an interesting point that the Registers of Scotland were registered and were misled by the council into granting title to that transfer. And this is quite a serious thing, because again, think of the stolen car analogy. You could be sitting in the house thinking you want it, naturally we don't. Or technically we do. You do, technically, yes. Because it's registered title, but it's based on stolen property.
Well, not really. I mean, Glasgow City Council arbitrated over. So they sell it to land as common good. That's a good sale. That's not.
Yeah. No, I have actually spoken to Frances about this, and she said, no, actually, the people aren't covered.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting idea. It's
No, there is a substantial problem because they should have gone through a process that they didn't go through.
which they're claiming to go through.
Yeah. And that's why you need to visual it, because once it's actually sold, it becomes extremely difficult then to get any comeback on it. It's like very difficult to get any comeback on anything happened before 1965. Or actually, anything happened before 1996 when the reorganisation again, because that was another organisation that we, as far as the council, before that was all responsible for. But it wasn't also like in Banff, which was the defining case for common good, where Big Bank, Duff House in Banff, was leased to a leisure company, and they went bust in a difficult they had 99 reason they wanted to get out of it. And the town council in Banff said they almost paid the money to can't get the police. And they discovered that the 1900 Town Council Act said that if you wanted to lease common good assets for more than 3 years, you had to do it by a public route, by an auction. And the council hadn't done that. And therefore, the leisure company, which was back in 1944, the leisure company said, well, we're not doing it because actually the new lease that we've got is incompetent. It's irrelevant because you didn't. And so it went to court and it was found that that council was wrong and the lease was split down and void. So after the circumstances, sale and lease do actually matter. But all you can, yes, but all you can by and large get in most cases is compensation for loss. In other words, Glasgow City Council was told by the court to put the proceeds of that sale, say £1 million, that didn't go into the common good, went to put it into the common good. I mean, you won't get flats back for that.
Could I ask either Andy, Bill, in terms of common good land, is there any, would it be, in terms of the register of the land registry, the register of seizings, would it go on to, would there be something on the register of seizings about something being common good or not? Do you know?
Well, the register of seizings records land titles, so you need to look at that as well as the archives, and the Glasgow City Archives are all kind of yeah, and so what you get to the decision register, then you get the title deeds. Once you get the title deeds, you read them. And the title deeds can say all sorts of things.
Yeah, but would that be covered by a common good? Would they talk about common good in the
well, they will talk about things. They will talk about things that are relevant to whether it's common good or not. So, for example, it will say, you know, I whatever gift this to the people of Glasgow. So it's common good. But the point is, unless you read that, you don't know. It doesn't actually say in lights common good, not common good. That's no business of the register. That's an internal thing for the council. Nothing to do with the register. But
that's the key thing. That's what I'm trying to set up. I'm trying to train people to go into the register of seizings or into the borough register or whatever, and they will know exactly what they're looking for. So there'll be a red flag will come up and go, oh, that's probably common good. And it's still only a problem because there's a couple of other tests you've got to pass. But and this whole thing is the awareness. The council should be doing this, but they're not prepared to do it. And you know, frankly, that's going to take a lot to shift them. And this is my way of trying to shift them.
How long do you think it will take? Is that a silly question? How long do you think it will take?
Sorry?
How long do you think it will take? Is a month? I mean, is it years or could it be?
Well, it depends on what you use the objective. I mean, I think that to actually research, once we get going, research this, I'm sure you can turn up some information. Very short term indeed. So you build up substantial number. In the borders, for instance, where they've done a little bit of this, they have been able to restore, I've forgotten the figure, but it's a substantial number of properties to the common good register. So it can be done quite quickly. But then you say to yourself, well, what are we trying to do here, ultimately? I suppose ultimately we're trying to change the law and that's a matter for Parliament, and that is something which, as I say, is not much of a vote winner.
But is there a danger that by doing this we will actually change the law, that Parliament will change the law adversely towards people?
Well, yes, I mean, I suppose there's always a danger, but I mean, what we'd probably end up with is some sort of commission on good, but Andy will talk much more about that.
I think we should have a break now. Wayne's been sitting there. Wow. 2 hours or something.